Yo, man, I just gotta touch on this topic again because it's just more and more stories keep coming out about the Xbox Series S. So before I jump into the video and pretty much let the journalists tell y'all about what's the performance level and what you can expect when you purchase a Xbox Series S, because we have some developers out there saying that they really can't work with it. I don't want to say they can't work with it, but it's difficult, and they're saying that it's pretty much holding gaming back. It's pretty much holding gaming back. And pretty much from what I'm seeing is you can get a 1440p 60 fps. I think it can even go up all the way to 120 fps. So pretty much what they're saying is inadequate. it's not accurate, you know what I'm saying? So I don't know who's coming up with this and making these stories up, but it's crazy that we have so many other games out there that's on Xbox, like Halos of the world, the Forzas, you know what I'm talking about. So many more AAA bangers on Xbox that's coming down the pipeline that's going to be running at 60 FPS and even probably 120 FPS at 1440p. And that's crazy for them to even come out and say that, to pretty much, downplay or knock the Xbox Series S to make it feel like, oh, it's like last gen hardware. That's the kind of mentality that this person had to have, because it's like, okay, you have to be a fanboy, you have to be playing for the other side, because they're going to explain the updates and the performance that they updated on this console so that they can work with it, so that they can boost the frame rate and resolution. So I'm gonna leave right there, and we're just gonna jump into the video.
And of course, plenty of games to talk about as well. So let's jump right on into it. Our leading story this week is about the Xbox Series S. So one that I don't think a lot of us have actually had a lot of hands-on time with. I know I haven't. I've always wanted to see one because I'm kind of jealous of the folks who have a really cool travel kit for their Xbox Series S. I don't think it's really practical for me, also because I just don't go anywhere, but it's always such a cute console, and I think it's just such a perfect gift. But the big news here is that it's getting performance boost, which is really cool to see the support for the Series S, as this is such a great point of entry for Xbox if you don't have a PC, or if you're just kind of getting into the games ecosystem to begin with. So this was as spotted by The Verge. The latest game development kit frees up hundreds of additional megabytes of memory for the Xbox Series S game developers. And quote, this gives developers more control over memory, which can improve graphics performance in memory-constrained conditions, Microsoft's game dev team noted in the June game development kit video. While this should help provide a much-needed boost to the Xbox Series S, it will take time for developers to optimize games, and of course there are no promises for the games that are already on the Series S to get any sort of improvements to their overall performance. Either way, though, more memory is really important, and of course allows the developers to do more with the games on Series S, which I think are already, doing really good. And as we've talked before, not everyone has a 4K TV, and not everyone's like going for the latest tech advancements. It's a pretty heavy investment. So for those of us that do have those, if you do have a Series S, that's maybe going to get a little bit more of a power up soon. Taylor, so I'm going to toss to you because you know all of our tech stuff. You know what's going on here. So how big is this news for the Series S?
Well, I mean, personally, in my opinion, I think it's a really good win for the Series S. I know there's always been that topic of conversation and debate of discourse of whether or not the Series S would hold back Series X and S games like down the road, just because of the hardware limitations and things like that. So the way I looked at it was, I think this is a big win, especially for people who don't care much about like having 4K gaming and all that other stuff that you can get on the Series X, and they're more attracted to that Series S price point, but they still want to have a consistently solid next-gen gaming experience. So I remember Digital Foundry actually pointed out too, where they said that a lot of the issues that developers were facing had something to do with the memory limitations with the Series S. So hopefully Microsoft, giving them more access to this memory will help better optimize the games for the system. And also, I felt like you kind of singled me out when you said the Series S was like a companion thing that you could travel with. I was like, yes, because that's how I have my, because I have a Series X and I have a Series S, but I have like the X screen accessory, so I have the little travel case with it. And like, wow, it'll be a lot more convenient for me to take this out, and I can actually get more out of it. And maybe it'll help free up some of the games that might have been having some slight performance because of memory, and not necessarily because, it's just not powerful hardware.
Right. Whenever I think about the power of hardware, I always kind of put them in comparison. And I know this is maybe an unfair comparison, but no, it's fair. The Nintendo Switch, I'm like, okay, is it better than that? Like Nintendo tries its best. They had different objectives, right? Like their objective is to develop systems that work with their games. Like the Joy-Con is a big part of like, well, we want this sort of different kind of adventure. We want this to be a handheld adventure, but also a home console. Whereas, of course, when we look at Xbox and the objectives that they have for the Series S, it's very different in that it is supposed to be a lower point of entry. And Destin, I know you've talked about this a lot in the past as well.
Yeah, so I'm really happy about these changes. And these changes are a direct result of developer feedback. And I don't think it hurt that Digital Foundry or even IGN with our performance reviews and anybody else who's out there doing these analysis of the Series S compared to its big brother counterparts, the Xbox Series X and even the PlayStation 5 or PlayStation 4, they're noticing that the Series S is having some, issues. And like you said in the intro, Miranda, this is going to improve performance for graphics allocation. So it is going to address those issues. Now, it's hundreds of megabytes, so it's small, but sometimes even with just that amount of flexibility given to developers, they can stretch that a long way to improve the performance of this box. We've set it on Unlocked. I believe all of us on the panel called it ahead of the launch of the Xbox Series S. It is one of the smartest things Xbox did, and it has paid off in dividends. I go into most stores in my local area here in SoCal, and they usually have a Series S in stock. You see them at Costco. I go into gaming stores, and I always am curious, like, what do you have in stock? Oh, we have one Series S, and that's a really easy gateway for people who don't care about 4K, who don't care about having that highest tier console, the Series X. And we have to remember, though a lot of us care about those things, a lot of people, I'd say like 75% of the market, really don't care. They just want to play next-gen games. They want to play the video games. They don't have 4K TVs, so the Series S just really serves a really great demographic.
Yeah, Stella, do you have much experience with the Series S?
I don't, and I kind of wish I did, especially with Gamescom coming up, because I'm going to be gone for like a week, and I'm like, okay, if I'm only going to have my Nintendo Switch to play games on, I'm restricted to like Nintendo games, right? So I'm kind of missing out on the Series S experience. Also, there's so many more, like, I know this is more of an aesthetic thing, but there's so many more cool designs for the Series S, especially with the Fall Guys console that just came out. I don't know if you guys saw it, but it's so cute. Like, it's super colorful. It's so pretty. And I'm like, why don't we get those kinds of options? And Destin's, is that?
This is what they look like if everybody's wondering on video. This is the Series S. It's great. I forced myself.
It's adorable.
When it came out, I forced myself to play on it, all my games on it for a week. Like, I played Elder Scrolls on here, I played Red Dead on here, I did all of the analysis at launch time. It's a great console, and Taylor, I think you can attest to how wonderful it is to bring it on the go too. Stella,
absolutely.
Highly recommend.
Yeah, you want to toss it my way for when I go to Gamescom so I can play on it? Yeah, just send it over, please. Thank you.
They're what, $50? Let's go pick one up.
God,
I wish.
I feel like Stella, it'd be more practical for you to borrow my Xbox Series S because I have the X screen, which is like the portable display that I reviewed. And you just literally, it's all you have to do is just plug that sucker in. Like, that's
awesome.
And damn, if both things are powered up, it's a neat little device. It's got some flaws, but overall, like, for what it is aiming to do, I think it's good. I think my takeaway with the X screen was that, for what it costs, it's like $250, so it's like, $50 shy of Series S. I was like, when I'm thinking about the main demographic that the Series S is targeting, this isn't necessarily, an accessory every Series S owner needs, but the ones who clearly want this, or as someone like me that likes to travel, I can just bring this with me. Like, yeah, it makes sense for me to buy one then, but not for everybody. But overall, for what it does, I think it does a great job.
There it is. There's the Fall Guys. If you guys are watching, you can see the Fall Guys Series S. It is really cute, and I do actually love that controller too. And I think that's something that Microsoft has really excelled at lately. Of course, these sort of special editions, especially for the Series S, tend to be like a giveaway or a prize.
Yeah.
And I would like to see them do that. Obviously, that's not as important, I think, as performance boosts. Taylor, do you think this performance boost is going to impact any of the accessories in any way?
I don't think it will. It's mostly just gonna be like a software thing, but I would like to see more limited edition consoles now. Ooh, wouldn't that be cool if they did like a Starfield one? But I feel like we'll probably get a Series X version of that. Oh, I know this is like wishful thinking, but now I'm like trying to think, how could they do it?
Yeah.
Ideas.
Kind of just staying with this too, though. I mean, for a long time, I feel like the company that's done the best exclusive editions of consoles is Nintendo. Which makes sense because those are usually at a lower price point. People kind of treat them as collectibles, specifically for the handheld versions. And now that we have Series S and they're at a little lower price point. I mean, it's still really expensive at about $300 USD, depending on the day. I think right now it's going for like $290, which is, I mean, it's like $10 off. But still, if you can find a good deal on it, like that's kind of not too bad if you can get a limited edition for a good deal. But I think in seeing those as a collectible, it's just something that makes it a little extra special, right? Like I know I went hard on getting the Halo Infinite Xbox Series X. What sort of special editions coming up would you guys want to see, either for the Series S or X? And honestly, I kind of hope they do both. Like it's just like just go all in, man. I mean, why not, right? I'm sure it's still a lot of work, but
The next Elder Scrolls. I want a special edition of the Series S for the next Elder Scrolls in 25 years.
Okay, if we're going that far out, then I want a Fallout. I want a Fallout one. Are you kidding me? A Vault-themed Xbox? Yes, please.
Yeah, I think honestly, like Microsoft just done such a fantastic job with the design of a lot of these. Like, I think there's just so many pretty controllers. I've never been more tempted to buy controllers in my life.
I know. It's a problem.
Why are you doing this? But they're all great, so that's the nice part. But I think too with the Series S and seeing them continue the support is really just, again, good because there is, I think, an install base here. And Dustin, as you're saying, there's just a lot of availability for them.
Yeah. The fact that you can go into most stores and find a Series S, if you're still waiting for a next-gen console, then and you want Xbox, it's not only great as the second console. If you're like a PlayStation main and you still want to play the Xbox games, you can pick up a Series S at a reduced price point. Or if you just want something for the kids and they don't really care about all the fancy graphics stuff, it just serves so many great purposes, and its barrier to entry being so low. And we're going to talk about a story about a family plan that might be coming, which just sweetens the pot, so to speak. So, the Series S is just such a smart move.
Yep, and I hope we continue to, of course, see support for this going forward. Before we move on from this, are there any final Series S wishes that you have regarding performance boosts, cosmetics?
I want
wishes.
Taylor's screen.
Oh yeah, that looks so good. Look at that. That's so cool.
Yeah, I know it's actually become one of my favorite accessories that I don't need, but I have anyways, and it's nice to have. So
right, so this is the X screen that we're talking about real quick, and if you're watching, you can see that on video. One of the things that I like about this is that it's always a little bit of a risk if you bring a console or something to a hotel, whether or not you can actually access the US, the plugins.
Yeah, the HDMI
might be either locked down or somehow disabled. I'm like, how do you do this?
Yeah.
Also, how dare you?
Yeah, but see, when you have X screen, you don't have to worry about it. You see, you just look. Yeah, and it looks like it fits right on the Series S. I think that's the thing that impressed me the most was I could show this to someone, they would easily think, oh, does that come with it? No, it does not actually.
Yeah, it's pretty cool. Well, we'll see what else is coming up next for Xbox, but real quick, we are going to take a break. Welcome back, everyone. Thanks for joining us from that awkward break. That was mostly awkward because I tossed it weird, but it's like that. It's like the back in the studio jitters. You're like, wow, it's like I'm home, but I don't know it, but it's different, but I love it. Anyway, we are back and we have more to talk about.
So the latest Xbox update makes some big changes to the user interface. A Ubisoft job posting hints at what's planned for the next Splinter Cell, and video game YouTuber Donkey will soon be publishing video games in addition to dunking on them. Let's get into it. Microsoft released its September update for the Xbox Series and Xbox One consoles, and it comes with some noticeable changes. The update completely revamps the game library with the My Games and Apps section redesigned to give more streamlined access to anything the user can play from their own library and what's available to them through Game Pass, EA Access, and the like. Meanwhile, owners of an Xbox Elite Controller Series 2 can now change the color of the Xbox button to any color of the RGB rainbow. On a more functional note, users now have the option to select different installation locations such as expansion cards, external hard drives, and more. Or you can let Xbox do the math, installing your game wherever is fastest and has the most free space. Xbox One and Windows users will now get the party chat noise suppression feature that was released for Xbox Series X and S earlier in September. And PC users will now be able to share gameplay captures with a link and start parties through the Xbox app. We don't know much about the upcoming Splinter Cell remake other than Ubisoft has officially confirmed its existence, but a new job listing might hint at what's in store. The listing in question is for a script writing position, and it reads, using the first Splinter Cell game as our foundation, we are rewriting and updating the story for a modern day audience. We want to keep the spirit and themes of the original game while exploring our characters and the world to make them more authentic and believable. Some fans may not like the idea of deviating from the source material, but considering how much the geopolitical landscape has changed since the original Splinter Cell was released in 2002, it's understandable that Ubisoft Toronto would want to give Sam Fisher's approach to global crisis aversion a more modern spin. And hey, if you think you got what it takes to help modernize Splinter Cell, it doesn't hurt to apply. And lastly, YouTuber Donkey is switching gears from playing games and cracking jokes about them to actually making them. Games, I mean, not jokes. Donkey and his wife have founded a publishing company called Big Mode, which is set to help indie games stand out from other titles that may not get the attention they deserve. Big Mode is making a point of not publishing games that contain NFTs, blockchain, or crypto, and has already opened submissions for developers to reach out.
And there you have it, man. They pretty much had to go over pretty much everything that you can expect from the Xbox Series S. It is not an Xbox One. It's way more powerful. So don't sit here and believe developers just because they want to be lazy and not work on patches for games. Pretty much they want us to start accepting remakes, $70 games, and 30 FPS. That's what these developers want, the easy way out. Now, may I add, I'm not talking about every developer. Well, that's not, we know it's not every developer, every studio. We know that. But for a lot of them, they are comfortable with doing these cash grab remakes and allowing Sony to basically hold Xbox back. They are paying developers and studios to make the PS5 run the same frame rate as the Xbox Series X and S. So that was rumored out there that's what Sony was doing, because you know those Decepticons don't care about nobody but money. So I'm gonna leave it right there, guys. Till next time, make sure you smash that like and subscribe button, click that notification bell, and if you would like to jump into the Xbox ecosystem or the PlayStation ecosystem, just click the link down below in the description. And if you would like to rent games, click the GameFly link in the description. Thank you and peace.